let's talk about a money system that you can build that works for you in your coaching business. Now, a lot of the time when I speak to coaches when they first come into my program or I'm speaking to them, they've got a bit of a slush fund there. So they're like, if I keep the account at this amount, then I'm kind of okay to pay my expenses and pay myself a little bit. And I know how much I need for my home life and I know how much I need for my business. So I kind of keep the account around this. And when it goes below that, I get a little stressed. And when it goes above that, I'm like, yay, fantastic. I can celebrate. I can spend a bit more, or I can pay myself a little bit more. And they think that that's okay and they think that's normal, but it's not normal, because the whole time you're doing mental maths in your head, trying to balance the account to this sort of slush fund that you've got there, thinking that you're doing okay, when really you could be doing this a whole heap simpler, where you don't have to spend ages doing the maths in your head going, all right, have I got enough for this? Have I got enough for that? And that's really stressful. And the problem is when you put yourself into that stressful zone all the time, it's going to be harder for you to concentrate on the business. It's going to be harder for you to be creative where you need to be creative. It's going to be harder for you all round in your life if you're constantly in stress over money when it doesn't need to be there. That's why we want to build this system, right? I remember speaking to a lovely client of mine, and she had a business for about 19 years before we met. So her coaching business was well established. It was going well, but she was constantly sort of chasing the next sales. She was constantly trying to keep up. Now, she had her kids at private schools. She had a gorgeous, car that she was trying to keep up the repayments on. She was living in an amazing suburb. She was keeping up with everything around her just. And she felt like she wanted to get off the roller coaster. She felt like it was just a constant, oh my gosh, to everyone else, it looks like she was successful. Behind the scenes, it was a constant worry, a constant stress, a constant struggle to make sure that she hit those goals, because if she didn't, she wasn't going to meet something, right? It was all going to fall apart. And she was so stressed about it that she was like contemplating just chucking it all in, like she'd had enough. So we don't want you to get to that point. And if you are at that point, it's all recoverable, okay? Any point you're at, you can recover, and any point you are at, any problems that you've got, we can absolutely solve those, right? So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips today. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips in case you need these ones. Now, the first one there I'm going to give you is to separate out, if you have not already, separated out your business and your personal life, right? A lot of people I meet, they go, you know what, I'm totally fine with the money, and they're, earning good money. These coaches have made, well over 6 figures. They're multi-6 figure, some 7 figures still doing this. Where they're like, you know what, I'm fine. Like I just take the money that I need out of the business, and it all just funds my life, and they're just using one account, or they're just using the business account like their personal account, right? We want to separate the two. So we want to have your personal accounts and we want to have your business accounts. Now, in your business accounts, we also don't want those all just lumped in there. We don't want the big slush fund happening, right? We want to make sure that you are setting the business up in a way where you can actually, take that mental mass out of your head and know what's going on at a glance and feel comfortable knowing that everything's going to be accounted for. And to do that in a really easy way is to just set up separate accounts. So I'm talking separate accounts for all the separate things in your business, right? So that you can make sure that you can automate as much as possible, but also you can see really simply where things are at without having to do all the maths and put it in a spreadsheet or get the calculator out or any of that. So separate accounts for things like all of those regular expenses that are coming up, your taxes, your profit, what you're going to pay yourself as the owner, right? A buffer, not a cash buffer like a slush fund, but a cash buffer like 3 months to 6 months to 9 months worth of money in case something goes wrong and you can't operate in that business, that the business can still run and still have cash for a number of months if something went wrong, right? And a lot of people speak to me and they go, oh my gosh, I don't have that in place. Like if I don't work, I don't earn. If I don't do it, I won't get the money. If I don't make sales, I won't survive. We want to make sure that you're okay if something happened, especially if you're the business, right? So you've got to make sure you've had that account as well. So separate accounts, but also over in that's your business system. That's your business money system that we're starting to set up. Over in your personal money system, you also want to do this too. You want to have separate accounts for separate things, because you don't want to be doing mental maths about, oh my gosh, I've got to pay this bill and I've got to get this to the school, and then I want to do this and I want to go on this holiday, and will I have enough money? And when we see it all in one account or all in two accounts, it looks like a lot of money and looks like we have it. And so we tend to, what do? Spend it all. Overcommit to things because we think we've got more than we actually do. When we actually can separate that out into separate things, that money is allocated. You're giving it a job to do for you and for your future. Okay. Now, one of those accounts needs to be your wealth growing account, right? Because just your business alone, just focusing on the sales, just growing your business, just your business alone, and paying yourself will not set you up in the long term like you can by investing. And what I mean by investing is investing in something like the stock market or into property or both or other investments, but making sure that you're actually getting yourself in the game where your money that you're putting in can start in the future making you a passive income. Okay. And a lot of people forget about this, or they think I'll start later or don't start, or think it's too late. It's never ever too late to start. It's just that you start from wherever you're at with whatever you can do at that point into that account. We need to look at also in your building your money system out, you need to look at what debt you've got. Like, when you're building a business, often you take on a business loan to build the business. Like that, not often do we have a business that starts off with nothing. Usually there's a business loan there that needs to be paid off, or maybe there's multiple business loans, or there's a new business loan to get a big thing, or something to balance out the cash flow. And that's all fine. It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy to make sure you've got the cash flowing in and it's not a big lump sum hit. But having a debt management plan and also managing the debt in a way that you can still grow wealth in the future is really, really important, right? So we want to make sure that we're balancing that, because we don't want to be just focusing on just paying down the debt and then get 10 years in or get 5 years in and never ever have invested in our future, because that's a big missed opportunity. It's a huge missed opportunity. All you need to do is type that into a calculator on the computer. You'll find a calculator, an investment calculator, like how much, if you started now or if you started in 6 months time or 12 months time or 6 years time in investing, like that gap is huge. So you definitely want to make sure that if you've got debt, that you're also investing, like you've got both things happening. Okay. So I'm just going to give you those tips for now. I'm not going to go into any more tips in this particular video, but I'd love to know what you thought of those tips. If you are going to try any of those tips today, or you do try them, I would love for you to share what it has given for you and for your business. And if you are one of those ones who are out there going, oh, you know what, I'm fine with a slush fund, and you've been operating on that hamster wheel for a while, I want you to pause and think, how much further could I be if I just shifted my thoughts to thinking something else? If I shifted to doing something slightly different, something slightly more organized, something slightly better, what could be the effect financially in the long run? All right. I'll leave it at that. Oh, and if you want to join me for my next masterclass, I am running a masterclass very, very soon. So if you want to join me for my next masterclass, please just type underneath this video masterclass, and I will get you all the details so that you can come along and attend. And of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified when I release my next video.